Well, hello, regular Drews.
Hello, everyone.
We're back with another episode. This is episode 124, where we will be discussing another Nancy Drew PC game. This one, number 26, The Tomb of the Lost Queen.
Well, aren't you a regular Nancy Drew?
I learned that from the Nancy Drew detective.
Okay, go.
You think you can follow the clues and solve the case of the missing condiment, Nancy Drew?
Because I've read every Nancy Drew mystery ever written.
Nancy, please tell me you're joking.
Wow, you suck at this Nancy Drew stuff. You should get a new hobby.
My name is Carson Drew, and this is my assistant, Nancy.
Nancy Drew.
It's curtains for you, Miss Drew.
Nancy Drew strikes again.
A regular Nancy Drew.
We're doing it. We're
Listen.
getting it over with.
I think... Okay, how do I start? I don't dislike this game. I think it grows on you a little bit over
Sure.
time, but I think there's good stuff in there. I just think that the beginning of the game and the end of the game are so rough that it's kind of bookended by bad when there is good stuff in there.
Yeah.
But it's just hard to get to, and it's hard to see it and remember it, because really the things that's standing out are obviously the beginning and the end of it, which are, in my opinion, not great.
No.
Right.
Confusing and weird and
Yes. Very confusing.
complicated.
Yes. Very confusing. And I feel like we don't, at the end of it, in our conclusion, we don't really get a straightforward answer as to what has occurred. And sometimes in Nancy Drew games, that can kind of be fun because you can kind of like theorize or whatever. But something
Sure.
about this game isn't super fun in that regard. And I don't know if it's just because I don't really care about these characters very much, or if it's just like there's just not enough there to like make interesting theories about. Like there's no interesting like dark side to this, you know what I mean?
Sure,
like it's
yeah.
all pretty kind of like obvious, but also vague, which
Very
is
vague.
which is unsatisfying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, well, okay, I guess it's this thing that I think it is. Okay, and that's just kind of it.
And like, does it matter?
And does it
Even
matter?
if it is the thing that you think it is, it's like it still doesn't really matter that much, you know?
Yeah. But okay, but that's all it's so funny because the way we're talking about it is super vague.
Yeah. That's true. Oh gosh.
I think the thing that this game does the best are the puzzles, obviously. The whole kind of premise of the game, and you tell me if you felt differently, Kori, but I honestly, it felt so much like one of those like locked room video games.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Where you're like stuck somewhere and you're trying to get out. Obviously, that's not quite the case of what's happening here, but it's just like basically one big puzzle setting where you're just constantly going through unlocking rooms, unlocking new rooms, finding new spaces, getting new puzzles to unlock another room. Like that's pretty much the game. And
You're just wandering around trying to find the other piece of information that you need to unlock the next piece of information that you need. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's very much, I think, a game that story is not super strong, but I think it could have been really great because I think the core of it, of the puzzles and how the game itself is structured, it's not horrible. It just lacks the story to kind of ground it in, to make it interesting, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
I think last episode I called this the most forgettable game, and I definitely maintain that still. I played this yesterday, and there's things I've already forgotten about it. I'm like, I just don't care enough because it's really just not that interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can definitely appreciate the archaeological aspect of this. We love the concept of like, that feels so true to Nancy Drew and Nancy Drew mysteries in general. Have her go to an archaeological dig site to help with the mystery there. But it, like, the environment itself wasn't very fun or very good. And I like, the puzzles were good, but I didn't like really care about the outcome of the puzzles. You know, it's like all this effort to go and find this information, and then for what? Another puzzle? And then all the characters I just don't care about. Like, I appreciate the attempt to have the education or the edutainment of the Egyptology factor, which is very interesting. But I just didn't feel like there was like enough to it that I really like learned anything.
Yeah. Well, it felt somehow like the educational aspects of it were like kind of separate from the gameplay somehow.
Yes.
Like, yes, you had to know the information in order to solve puzzles. And I think really the standout part of that is the hieroglyphs. I think they did a great job, especially like when you're putting them on the tomb to open up, or the sarcophagus to open up the sarcophagus. Like, I think that was great. But the rest of it, like the like history aspect, the story of Ramses II and Nefertari, like feels almost secondary to what it is you're actually doing in the game, which is kind of wild because we're literally in Nefertari's tomb. Like, the story of that should be important. And really, it's only told to us secondhand by other characters. And there's some of it in books and stuff too, but it's just not... It's not engaging enough. It doesn't make me curious about more. None of the stories themselves like involve us having to know that, or none of the puzzles themselves, involve us having to know that story, which I think is the misstep with that, because it really is a very interesting story. You know, and clearly has like inspired like a lot. And so it could be really cool, but for some reason, it just doesn't translate exactly into the puzzles. It doesn't translate exactly into what we as Nancy are doing in the game.
Right.
So the only real thing that I think you have to understand in order to successfully complete the game are the hieroglyphs, which is great. But then also sometimes the hieroglyphs don't make any sense.
Right.
So it's like, it's ambivalent. I'm ambivalent about it. Like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. That's kind of how I feel about this whole game. I feel very ambivalent. Like there's some things that I really like about it. Like like you're saying, I love getting to go to tomb in Egypt and have to search through the tomb and unlock rooms and puzzles to find who is actually here, and that feels so authentic and so Nancy Drew, the way you were talking about. But there's no interesting dynamics with the characters. I'm not even really that confused about what's going on here. I'm not interested in like this whole sabotage aspect. I don't feel like there's any kind of real urgency to figure anything out.
There's no stakes to it.
There's no stakes. There's no stakes. Stakes just seem low. And I don't know why that is exactly. Because we are out in the middle of nowhere. I think the thing with the slashing of the water tank and losing our water source is the only thing that really drives it home. But the thing is maybe it's the timing, because the game takes place over the course of one day.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's really the issue. Like, we never have to go to sleep. We're never like, well, on this day, we're like officially out of water. Like, you know, like that never happens. We don't lose communication with the outside world at any point. There's plenty of things I think they could have done to raise the stakes. So maybe that's the issue. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of uncompelling on a lot of different levels, which sucks, because I think, like you're saying, at the core of it, its premise is pretty interesting.
I also didn't love that we used so much of the gameplay to like devote time to the Anunnaki subject.
Yes.
It's like, if you're going to do edutainment, that needed to have not been mentioned at all. It felt like that and the Daughters of Nefertari thing took a front seat to the actual like Nefertari stuff. Like Nefertari's in the back seat and all this other stuff is somehow more important. And that just didn't feel.
Yeah.
Like that didn't feel like how it should have been, you know?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know and haven't played this game before, well, first of all, probably don't listen to this episode, but second of all, the Anunnaki are the name for the aliens that one of the characters frequently references as being the ones who actually built the pyramids. So
that's like a real thing too. Like
yeah, lots of people genuinely believe that aliens built the pyramids, and it's a big problem because it's pretty racist to think that ancient Egyptians couldn't have figured it out on their own. Yeah, we have lots of examples of ancient civilizations being very advanced, and the whole discounting of their achievements is not great.
Gross. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely interesting to see that talked about here in this game. I mean, ultimately, we discover, of course, that that's not the case. Everyone kind of treats that character like, which is actually another thing. Everyone actually calls that character Jamila. They call her crazy so many times. They treat her absolutely horribly, and she has a really bad take, or is spreading around that really bad, harmful take, but calling her crazy is not it, is not the correct response to that. But everyone is like, oh yeah, she's bananas, she's they make so many jokes on her behalf, she's got too many screws loose, or she's one, I don't know, all of the euphemisms that people use to call people crazy, they call Jamila that in this game. And I was constantly jarred by that. I was like, wow, okay. Okay. Goodness.
It's not that I dislike the character, but there's a lot of annoying ways about how some of these characters are used that, again, same complaint as last time. We just don't use them to the full potential that the story could have used them,
I'm trying to think how we could make, I'm trying to think of, if we were to, remaster this game, how would we make the story itself more interesting and more engaging? And how can we make the story of Ramses II and Nefertari more central to it? This might be more of a conversation for the end, but I don't know,
Let's start with putting in an actual mystery, because I don't feel like the mystery here is that strong. Was there a sabotage, or was it an accident? And then there's some actual sabotage, and then it's well, what was the point of any of that? What was the end goal here? I don't really...
Yeah. Fair. Very fair.
Start us off with something a lot more concrete of something's been stolen, or, some actual concrete evidence that it's real sabotage,
What's weird is I think the thing that's tripping me up too is the way that the game starts. I kind of talked about this when we, at the very beginning when we started recording, but Nancy is automatically already in at the dig site. And I understand why they do that. They kind of make this change in a lot of the later games where we're just kind of thrust into the action. And I understand why. It's much more, it's why do we have that kind of upfront stuff when we could kind of just go straight into it? But I do think that this game really would have benefited from that, to kind of take our time and understand a little bit more about the backstory here, and have Nancy get called in to help with whatever is actually going on here. I think that would have really helped us feel the stakes of the game earlier, because really all we were here doing is, Nancy's not here to solve a mystery, she's here for a job. It's just
she's job shadowing
Scarlet Hand, where she shows up for an internship, basically. That's what she's doing here. So it doesn't feel there's something wrong. It just feels like a dig site.
And somehow Scarlet Hand accomplished that so much better.
Yes.
I don't know. Not starting off with a case file or a letter or something. I think we did suffer a lot from that.
Well, and I think in Scarlet Hand, there's a big crime that happens very soon into the game that is alarms blare, literal alarms going off, and police, and And not to mention Henrik falling down the stairs of the pier. Like, I mean, like big bad stuff is happening, like threatening stuff. But here it's kind of like, yeah, accidents. And we don't ever really address the accidents when they're happening.
And we don't investigate them either. We're just wandering around looking for new inventory items to spawn in a new place.
Oh my God, that's so true. That's honestly my biggest pet peeve about this whole game. I don't know how you can do this game without a checklist because the thing is like you can fully search a location and then you leave and you come back and something else is there after you've done something. So it's like it took me forever and I had to look up where the lamp oil was at the very start of the game. I was like, I can't remember where it's supposed to be. I know I'm supposed to be able to get it from somewhere. I felt like I looked everywhere 12 times, had to look up a walkthrough to be like, oh, okay, it's by the water tank. Why would it be by the water tank? Why would it not be in the tools tent, the relic tent? Why would it not be somewhere else that's more conveniently located? Who's putting it by the water tank? Are we drinking it? No.
And it's not like it's always there. It just appears there at some point. It appears
there when you need it. The same thing with the little scarab or the beetle tile.
Yes, I have wandered for so long looking for the scarab. And it's not like in some of the games, there will be something that happens that prompts you to go back to that location of like, okay, I'm going here anyway. Oh, look, I found something new when I got here. But there's nothing that like actually sent me down that hallway. I just was so frustrated with making no progress that I just started wandering and oh, look, I found it. That's not how it should happen. You know, there should be something that prompts the next linear move, you know?
No, I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, that's probably, I think outside of the lack of story, that's like my second number 2 issue with this game is just the random appearance of objects when they weren't there before, like with no prompting. It would be different if it's like, oh, it looks like someone dropped something, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like, or as like a character leaves, like, what's that, you know? Like, but it's not like that. So it's like you can fully explore everything and think you've seen everything and you haven't. So it's really frustrating.
I think really now that I think about it, I think this is the first game where they did this, where they did away completely with the opening letter or the case file, where you hit new game and then you're just in it. Like we start, you only get the exposition after the game has started.
I mean, you don't really though. You don't really get any exposition at the start of it. Nancy has like a cutscene. Yeah. But it's not even, it's like Lonnie Manelli talking, but she's not necessarily talking as Nancy. Like she's explaining like the story.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Of like, you know, of an expedition that came previously. But Nancy then learns about the expedition in the game, like while she's there, as if she never knew it before. So I don't know that narration was necessarily supposed to be Nancy, even though it was done in Lonnie's voice.
The only real explanation we get for why we're there is after the first cutscene, after the sandstorm, after John gets injured, we're on the phone with him and she's like, I was just supposed to be here for job shadowing. Right. And now this. And like, that's the old, like, that should have been in the case file. Like, I'm going because so-and-so invited me to go on John's expedition.
I mean, I'm fine starting it with a cutscene if that's what you want to do. That's great. Even if you want to have like that cutscene of the dig site and give us that like, you know, teaser of like what the, you know, of like that old expedition that went missing. That's fine to me. If then we get moments as Nancy being introduced to the site itself, you know what I mean? Like, but instead we're just literally there and stuff's happening. And I'm like, who's that on the ground? Like, you know, like, are we supposed to, did we hit him? You know, like what's going on? You know, it's so disorienting. And then to fully be in the game and be expected to do stuff while you kind of don't know what's going on, or you've gotten just a very brief kind of like introduction to it is a little disorienting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have to complain about the setting itself.
Uh-oh.
For Egypt, I've just wanted maybe a little bit more. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I just feel like the gameplay area is very small.
Yeah.
Like, we have our tent where everybody's sleeping, and then we have like our little work tent, the antiquities tent, where they have some like equipment and stuff. And then there's the tomb, which the tomb is just like one very large central room, and then 3 little tunnels, or not tunnels, like 3 hallways that go off of the main tomb. And all 3 of those hallways just kind of lead to a dead end. And we, like, later on, it'll open up a little bit more, but really it's just like a 4th hallway. And that's it. That's the entire place.
Yeah.
That's everywhere we can go in the game. It just feels much smaller compared to some of the other games. I don't know. I wanted more areas to explore and more areas to open up and discover more. It felt like we just kind of found that passageway and then we were done, you know?
Yeah. I do think the tomb itself feels very expansive and the tomb feels large.
It does, and it's beautiful.
And
the artwork itself is gorgeous.
Yes. But I kind of agree. I think I kind of wish we had like started in a location outside of the dig site.
Yeah.
Like we had started in like a hotel room or the airport or something, like on our way there, and then kind of gotten the lead up as we're there. Or it could have been a situation where we learn about the accident when we're not there. Like maybe that happens before we get there. And then we get there and John's like, yeah, sorry, like I'm in the hospital now and I need you to be my eyes and ears because something's happened and I don't know what's going on anymore. I need you to look into this. There needs to actually be like an investigation piece into what actually happened to John because maybe he has amnesia. And then maybe we're getting the story from a bunch of different people. I don't know. But like, there needs to be, I think, a setting outside of the tent, the dig site itself before we go into it to make the dig site seem more remote. And I think then it's okay that the dig site is smaller. I would like maybe like just a little bit more outdoor area to explore around the dig site. But I think that would be okay provided we know, okay, that's our secondary location. Yeah. And then maybe we can go back and forth between like, you know, Cairo and the dig site, maybe just like a little bit to like maybe do like supply runs or something like that.
Or go to the hospital to visit like Dylan or John. Yeah.
And then at a certain point we get trapped and locked in the dig site, you know, so that we can't leave it anymore. And that's another way to heighten the stakes. But I agree.
That would be good.
I agree that it feels not impressive enough. Like it doesn't feel, expansive enough. I think the tomb itself is great. I mean, outside of there's maybe not enough to explore, but I think the way that you unlock it is satisfying enough for that to be the full location. But I just think the kind of setup for how we get there is not impactful enough because we're traveling really far. Like if this place is supposed to be so remote and like, you know, I feel like there needs to be some effort put into getting us there for us to kind of understand the remoteness of it. And like maybe we could have like some car issues or something like that. So like that travel becomes challenging, you know,
Or maybe someone slashes the tires so we can't leave.
Exactly.
And then the water tank thing happens. So then it's dire that we're stuck here, you know?
Yeah. It
just felt like, okay, we have to spend so much of the game just wandering around to look for these inventory items that we need, that there's really only like 4 or 5 places to look, you know?
Yes. And I do think something else now that we're talking about this has made me think, I think there's way too much talking in this game and not enough doing.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem for me. I think we talk to the same people over and over again about the same things. We have the same conversations with people, which is the same critique that we had last time with whatever game we covered last time, which I literally can't
Shadow
remember.
at the Water's Edge.
Yes. The Water's Edge. I've slept since then. But I think we have that problem here, and it doesn't ever really feel like anyone is saying anything. But we're supposed to be at a dig site. There's supposed to be a lot of work to do. Like, why are we spending time talking? Why is Lily just sitting on her bed?
Right.
when like she's supposed to be working. And I mean, Abdullah is staring at hieroglyphs, and I think that's fine for him. And I know that like, but like, why is no one working? Why are we as Nancy not constantly like having, oh, you also need to do this, Nancy. You need to get that done too. Like, why do we not have a running task list that takes us to these different locations? Like, no, I need you to go to the end of tunnel 2 and I need you to catalog what each of these things on the walls are. Like, why is that not part of our work? Right? Our job.
You would think John would be calling, like, since I'm out, you need to pick up the slack and like be getting these things done.
Well, and Lily too at the very beginning is like, okay, so I'm in charge now. I'm in charge of you. Why is she not giving us tasks? She gives us one thing to do at one point in the game, but it's optional. You don't actually have to do it. I don't know if you know this, Kori. You don't have to do
I did not know that.
Amulet sorting. You can absolutely skip the whole amulet, stolen jackal amulet plot line entirely. Yeah. So like
that's one of the few things that like lends to the plot with the whole like black market thing. That would have been a good something for a revision. Have somebody like maybe somebody comes to the dig site, like somebody, one of these people that Dylan's been working with that like, oh, these sketchy people from Cairo are like, they found us and they're making their way here right now. And then, you know, I don't know. Well, I don't know. We need another character, but.
No, I mean, that's another thing is like, why are these random people here? Like, and I know we kind of talk about that a little bit. Like, why is Dylan here? We don't ever really ask why Jamila's here. Even though Jamila wasn't invited on this dig. Nope. But so it's really weird that like we are supposed to be out in this really remote place, but people just show up. And I know that's kind of part of the plot, but I just don't think it makes very much sense at all. And I don't think it really works. I think it would be okay if one person showed up and that was really weird. Like, what are you doing here? Like Dylan or something. But I think Jamila needed to have been a part of the crew who was already there. Because 2 people showing up out of the blue is it's jarring. It doesn't make sense. And it's like, no. And if we are being saddled with more work and we're being given all these tasks, then it becomes more annoying when someone random shows up, right? It's like, well, now I have to talk to this person and figure out why they're here when I've got like 12 other things I need to be doing right now, you know? Like,
it felt like they were going to use that, like do something more with that of like, oh, these people keep showing up. Who are they actually with? Are they the black market people? And then it's just not that. It's just, we just dropped that entirely. Yeah. Somebody's selling things on the sly, but I don't care. It's like, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, we're talking around everything a lot, so we probably should just get into it so we can talk to you about the specifics. So we talked a little bit about the gameplay already and how we do jump straight into the mystery. Something different here. We no longer have a choice of junior and senior detective. It's instead amateur and master sleuth, Kori.
Why did we change this? It didn't need to be changed.
I don't know.
We are junior and senior in my heart forever.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get it either. There is like a new kind of overlay situation on the game itself, which I do really like. I think this is actually a great change that they make. You know, now our inventory is down on the bottom with like our cell phone and our notebook and all of that. I think as time goes on, that portion of the game, that kind of part of the game design has only improved.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They get better at the menus as time goes on. And I think this is just another example of that. And like I said, there is no time control in this game. It occurs all in one day. In the actual day, no night. Like there is no time progression at all. It's just one really long day. And as usual, it can be played in pretty much any order. I mean, somewhat different order, I guess, not any order. But yeah. The premise of the game is that a cutscene Nancy, like I said, and it's kind of unclear whether or not this is actually Nancy talking or just someone in Nancy's voice. They tell us that 60 years ago, a sandstorm uncovered a tomb in Egypt, and a British expedition went there in hopes of finding a quote-unquote lost queen, but the whole expedition went missing. And then the tomb was never seen again until now. And then suddenly we cut to a dig site outside of Cairo in the middle of a sandstorm. And we hear someone like in the background say, "It's the curse." And then we cut to Nancy asking a man who is unconscious on the ground if he's okay. Very confusing. We don't really know what's going on right off the bat. And then cut to after the storm, we're suddenly on the phone with this guy. We learn that this is archaeology professor John Boyle, and he is here in Egypt or we are here in Egypt to quote unquote job shadow him, like you were saying, Kori. But now that this sandstorm has come through, the crew has left the dig site, and John is in the hospital, and the doctors are saying that he may have been attacked. So I guess he doesn't really remember what happened to him. He just suddenly was unconscious. And I guess nobody else saw what happened to him, which is weird since we were just in a sandstorm and presumably all sheltering somewhat near each other. But okay.
I guess there was too much sand to like block their view.
Maybe.
But he was like fully believing it was just debris that hit him. But then the doctor's like, "Oh, somebody like did this to you."
Yeah. But anyway, he wants us to figure out whose tomb this is and what happened to him, I guess. So, yeah.
I just got out my copy of the game here. I actually love this cover art. I think that this is really, like, it grabs you.
Yeah, it's a picture of, kind of like, I guess, an Egyptian sarcophagus or an actual woman. It's hard to tell if that's supposed to be a painting of like Nefertari, like a picture of Nefertari itself, and then like half of it is like mummified version of her. So it's pretty spooky looking, but very Egyptian. You kind of see the tomb in the background. There's like a cobra, and like these beautiful gold columns with hieroglyphs on it. And then on the bottom of the picture, underneath the text that says Nancy Drew, Tomb of the Lost Queen, is this picture of like the dig site with the tents in the background and all the sand and everything. So yeah, I think very appropriate. And I think works really well. I agree.
Tells us more about Nefertari than the game does. Like, just because the right half is like what she would have looked like in real life, obviously.
Possibly,
and then the left half is just like, what she maybe could have looked like. And then the left half is just obviously what we do see in the game, her mummy. So,
yeah. Interesting that they chose to go purple route again, I guess because of royalty, possibly. But yeah, could not be more different than Treasure Royal Tower.
I know.
Except for Hotchkiss is also in this game, so we'll talk about that too.
We need to talk about that because, girl, what is your specialty that you are an expert in both French history, Crystal Skull history, and Egyptian history?
Okay, the Crystal Skull is a great question because I don't know about that one, but I think in this regard, it's just queens. I think she just likes queens.
Maybe.
Let's just get into it. Okay. So we're in this tent at this dig site, and it's kind of a big tent. This is where everybody stays, presumably, and we can look through, there's like these little cubicles where everybody has like a little cot, and we can kind of look through these, and we meet one character named Lily. Nancy already knows Lily, I guess, because Nancy has been here, but she is another student on this dig who says that she's in charge now that John is out, or she is at least in charge of the American team, which consists of just Nancy. So great. She's going to be really fun to work with. She tells us that she doesn't know what happened to Professor Boyle because of all the sand. She couldn't really see, but she will teach us how to play Senate. And I do love Senate.
It's great. Yeah.
It's a great little board game. And a fun pastime in this game, at least. But we do, John on the phone, John told us that we needed to get his notes. And whenever we're able to convince Lily to actually let us go into John's bunk, we can get his notes from his trunk. Also in his trunk is a letter from Franklin Rose, who is the president of the Beach Hill Museum from Scarlet Hand. He is recommending Nancy for this job, so that's a nice little callback. Yay. Yeah. His notes are on his nightstand. We get the notes from his nightstand, and in them we can read a bit about hieroglyphs that might be important later. And we see also so far that Professor Boyle seems to think that the tomb really does point to a royal female presence. So it's possible that it's Nefertari. Although at this point in the game, we haven't actually referenced Nefertari at all. We just keep saying Lost Queen, and we don't know who that might be, which is crazy to me. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We needed to know coming up front that Professor Boyle thinks that Nefertari could be here. And that's one of the reasons why he's reaching out to Nancy for help, because he knows that she's really good at uncovering the truth or whatever he wants to say about it. Like, you know, he needs to be like, I don't want to say who, I don't want to jinx it, but it's possible this might be Nefertari. And then, I don't know, maybe we could do maybe we're stuck at the airport and we have to do background research while we're waiting at the airport in order to leave. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, but then also we see in his notes that some have been torn out, which is weird. Why would that be? In our bunk in this tent, we can get a few books from our trunk to help us translate hieroglyphs, and we can also find a book on our nightstand on the Lost Queens of Egypt by Professor Beatrice Hotchkiss. And her phone number's in it, so we will have to contact her later. And speaking of calling, our phone contacts in this game are Dr. Boyle, Bess, and Professor Hotchkiss. There's not really anything particularly interesting you can talk to any of them about outside of the case, although Bess will often kind of spook Nancy by retelling her the plot of the movie Revenge of the Desert Queen.
Yes.
Which is pretty funny. But really, the biggest kind of star of our phone contacts is Hotchkiss. She will be the one who really helps us the most in this game. And when we talk to her, she thinks that we work for Geek Squad, and she can't remember our name in keeping with the inside jokes from the rest of the game. She is, of course, very helpful in giving us that history info, though. And if you're missing any information in the game, you should probably give Hotchkiss a call, because odds are she has something to tell you. She also lusts over Abdullah, who's another character in this game we have to meet, which is hilarious. She says at one point that she has a Men of Archaeology calendar, and that he's December or something in it. And Nancy is like, wait, is that a real thing? And Hotchkiss goes, it's a real thing when I made one.
All right, Hotchkiss.
Settle down. Goodness gracious. But so most importantly, Hotchkiss will actually tell us the story of Nefertari and Ramses II, who apparently were in love, and Hotchkiss says that she found records that they had a plan for how they could be together in the afterlife. I don't know exactly what that's supposed to mean, but okay. And that Ramses II in particular knew that he would have to keep Nefertari safe somehow. So that's obviously going to be important here at this site. I do think we probably need to mention off the top that probably the reason why he thinks that is, of course, number one, because of grave robbers and grave robbing and the history of grave robbing and tomb raiding in Egypt, but also because of necrophilia, which is something that was shockingly common, not only to female corpses then, but female corpses now. And so that is probably why he was this concerned about protecting her, right? He did not want that to happen to her body. So, yeah, great. I just wanted to, we gotta bring that feminist lens into this. It's important. So, yeah. Do you want to take it, Kori?
Sure. I do have to say, though, I don't know if this happens to you, but Lily is voiced by the same voice actor who voiced Lucas, the little kid in Captive Curse.
Oh.
And when I look at Lily, when she talks to me, I can only hear Lucas talking to me. And it throws me off so much. I'm like, why is this little boy bossing me around and telling me that he's in charge of the American team? I can only hear Lucas. And I know she's trying to do a Lily voice, and I just don't hear it. I only hear Lucas.
That's interesting. I mean, I think I knew that. I think I knew that they were the same voice actor, but I don't really picture that, but that's so funny that you do.
There's lots of cases in the series of one voice actor voicing multiple characters, and that doesn't happen in any other case except Lily and Lucas, that in my mind, they're the same person. And it's just Lucas, this annoying little 10-year-old boy
I mean,
nagging at me.
I think it's just that the character of Lily is super annoying.
She is. She is annoying. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. But at this point, we're going to go outside of our little bunk tent or whatever, and we see what is it even called? Like a trailer with a big old water tank on it. It's a massive water tank. It's got just one communal little water cup for everyone to drink out of.
Ugh. This killed me.
I know. It's disgusting.
And as Nancy, you can sit there and drink, a bunch of water, and you'll get an achievement at the end if you drink enough or whatever. But I'm like, please fill up your own canteen or something. Please. Don't use this cup that everybody has had their lips on.
I will say as well, there's a lot of water bottles at the camp, both in the antiquities tent and in the bunk tent. There's a lot of water bottles. So we're not totally out of luck once the thing happens later on. But we also don't have to be using this communal water cup when you could just fill up your own bottle or your own canteen, or just reuse that same water bottle that you've taken out of the tent, whatever. A little to the left of the bunk tent is our antiquities tent. This one has a ton of relics inside and various tools that you would use for an archaeological dig, and then some notes in here that you can take as well. We'll actually end up taking quite a few of the tools here because we'll need them for later. And then there's also a map of the site that you can take from here as well that actually gets updated in real time. As you look around the tent, the game will automatically add on to the map for you when you find a new passageway or whatever.
It's just so helpful.
It is so helpful,
I think that's one of the best additions to this game that they made, is that map.
Just like the automatic update.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. And there is also a book in here that we'll need later about relics. And then, so there's also the most significant thing here is a crumpled up brochure about aliens. It's produced by a group called SPIDE, which is an acronym that stands for Strange Phenomenon Investigators Extraterrestrial Division. This group was founded by Sunny June, of course, of Scarlet Hand fame, and we'll learn more about this group later. But there are some numbers on here on this pamphlet that we'll need for later, so we'll just remember that this is here. Also in this tent, there is a little puzzle area where you can zoom in on the pieces of this relic that need to be put back together. And when we put it back together, we'll see that it's an amulet of a green cat, except there is a little chunk of it still missing. So we'll have to find that chunk and put it all together as one piece eventually. Now, though, we can go into the tomb and we can start to explore down there. As we said, it's beautiful down here. The entire, every square inch of the inside of the tomb is painted very richly, and it's got hieroglyphics all over it. And there is a guy right at the entrance to the main chamber, and this is Abdullah. He's in here studying some of the hieroglyphics on the wall, and he is one of the most egotistical jerks in the entire series. He calls us darling. He's the lead archaeologist here, or maybe one rank below John. It's not really clear who's in charge. It seems like there's multiple different teams, and he thinks that he's the best of the best that has ever archaeologied. So he tells us that it's actually possible that the dig site is going to be shut down now that Dr. Boyle's been injured. So if we're going to find anything, we've got to work pretty fast. He's also really intent on finding the lost queen, who he believes is Nefertari, but there is no evidence that that is actually who is buried here. Apparently 100 years ago, there was some expedition that thought that they found her tomb, but when they got inside, it was actually empty. And so they think that maybe she was never actually there. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. I was thinking, though, that they were confusing this with the expedition that was 60 years ago, but that's not the case. They're talking about a different tomb here, Abdullah is. Yeah. But there was also an expedition possibly to this tomb 60 years ago that disappeared.
We'll need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yes. He does tell us about Lily, who apparently he hired her, even though she's on the American team. I'm not really clear on who. Again, there's the structure of the of the leadership here is a little bit strange. But he thinks Lily is too high strung, and he says he doesn't trust her,
even though he hired her.
Yeah, and he says he hired her because he wants her to surprise him. I don't think you can do it, but I want you to be the underdog and prove me wrong.
And he also says something about like how she's so much like him that it would be like hypocritical of him not to hire her. So you think that you yourself are anxious and high strung, and that you aren't, that you need to surprise some, you know what I mean? That like that
I would
you're
agree.
like an underdog.
He is anxious and high strung. Yeah.
It's just weird.
But then, okay, so we'll finish talking to him, and then there's a bunch of hieroglyphics around the tomb that are like little puzzles that we can go in and translate those. And then eventually we'll be able to translate the wall behind Abdullah. Where he's standing right now, we can't get to the hieroglyphs he's looking at, but later he will walk away from this little area and we'll be able to like fully walk up there and look at it. And if you translate enough of the hieroglyphics in the game, I don't think you have to translate all of them, but if you do translate all of them, you get an achievement at the end. There's quite a few that you have to do. This is a pretty big function of the game. Quite a few you have to do, and then several that are like optional.
I do think we need to talk about this a little bit though, because so the way that they kind of treat the hieroglyphs in this game is that it's like a 1-to-1 letter.
Yeah, not an accurate translation.
No, like one hieroglyph stands for one like English alphabet letter. Like that's not real.
Not how it works.
That's not how it works. I don't even really know. Like, clearly, I'm not an Egyptologist. I don't know anything about hieroglyphs, but I know that can't be how it works.
No, it's definitely not how it works. Except for later in the game when there's something that you have to do and it specifically doesn't translate letter for letter.
Exactly.
That's frustrating.
Yes. And I will say too that a lot of the like translations you could do. So yeah, like you're saying, there's like a bunch of different ways that you can do these hieroglyph translations, like 3. There's like where you can like click it with your hieroglyph dictionary and then automatically get a translation of what it says. There's a way where you have to like manually go in, figure out letter for letter, you know, what each hieroglyph stands for, translated into English. And then there is one where is probably the most accurate, where you're having to kind of like construct people's names out of hieroglyphs that you know what they stand for, right? That one makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But also whenever you like translate the ones with your dictionary, they are like written in like King James English version, where they say like, you know, ye shall know your, like, who, like, why is it like that? That can't be the case. It doesn't say ye shall know in hieroglyphs. You would just say you. You would just say you. Unless this is like a translation from like, you know, what, 1604? Yeah. Like, why are we talking like that?
I don't get it. And even the hieroglyphs we have to translate, the ones that like feel the most accurate, where you're like using the names or whatever, the names of the children, even that doesn't feel like, I don't have a lot of confidence when I'm solving it, because I'm like, I think this is what they're getting at. It's a lot of like the player has to do a lot of guesswork to not even guess and check. Is this right? Is the game going to tell me it's right? It's like, do I think that the game designers might have thought this, and how do I do it? Like with the bird puzzle, when you have to like go off the descriptions of the gold tiles of the birds. Yeah. It's like, this bird is in the water. And so you just have to find the bird that looks most like a duck. And it's just like so subjective. It's like, okay, well, there's lots of birds that could be on the water. So why? Okay, so from the game designer's perspective, I can see why they think it's a duck, but there's nothing in the game that tells me it has to be the duck.
It's
you
a
know?
duck. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of confidence when I'm solving it. So in my mind, that's just bad puzzle design. I'm sorry. It just
no, that's fair.
I need to be able to check and know. And if I don't have Nancy saying that's done, you know, then how do I know that it's right? You know?
Yeah. I think that this game, though, finally gets that right. Like, they finally have enough of Nancy explaining how to do things, even though it doesn't make any sense a lot of the time what Nancy is telling you to do. At the very least, we get an explanation of Nancy telling us, this is how I need to solve this puzzle. And then at the end, she'll tell us when we've done it right. you know? So there's not like that, like, I don't know, maybe this is what they want me to do kind of a thing. That's what I hate, is I hate groping around in the dark with a puzzle. I at least need to know what the objective is, regardless of whether or not it actually makes sense. So I appreciate the game for that at least.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
but I agree with you at the birds. The birds is very frustrating.
It was very frustrating. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. So we're in the main room, and then like we said, there's like 3 main tunnels off of this main room. There's not much to see in tunnel 1 right now, but at the end of tunnel 2 is where we can find the last little piece of the cat amulet. So we'll have to put that all back together, and then we'll have a fully formed little cat shape there. And then in tunnel 3, there's another hieroglyph translation puzzle that we'll have to do, which translates to something about the sons of Horus. So we'll have to figure out what that's in reference to. And then there's a couple other little puzzles set in the walls here. One's the scarab puzzle. And then there's another puzzle. It's like sliding hieroglyphics. And John has mentioned this in his journal. So we'll need to use his notes to like try to figure out how to solve this.
So this puzzle, you basically have to like slide these little rows of hieroglyphs so that a hieroglyph shows up in each of the columns. And whenever we do that successfully, a wall will open and show a sealed door. When we approach this door and click on it, Nancy will automatically break the seal on this door, which is like, way to go, Nancy. Like, you just destroyed like something ancient. But now we can go into this room. And inside this new chamber is a stone sarcophagus. And at this point, Lily and a few other people who we don't recognize, plus Abdullah, all come in. And then they all kind of like start talking over each other at once. They start talking about this curse that's apparently written on the wall in here. And then Abdullah or something says, everybody get out. Like, we all have to get out now. And so then we all just leave and we cut to us in the tent. What? This still doesn't make sense later either, but we talked to Lily about this. She tells us that there is this curse on the tomb, and she believes in this curse, and that there was an expedition a long time ago that fell prey to this curse, and they all died one by one. And that when, we opened the tomb and she was near this sarcophagus, she felt like something non-human was in that room with her, and she warns us, Nancy, not to go in there anymore.
Lily, what are you talking about?
Lily is literally supposed to be in school to become an archaeologist. Like, how are you going to be going into ancient Egyptian tombs being freaked out like this about curses? It's like a core part of her character is this like fear of curses. There's even like a book on her bed about curses, and she'll talk to us about it all the time. At one point she's like, curses have a 70% like kill rate, Nancy. And it's like, what are you
they
talking about? She's like, yeah, you can attribute it to like natural causes, but after so many strange diseases are caught, like, what can you say?
I don't know. I think what we need to be worried about is the carbon monoxide down there, and not the curses that you think is inside this tomb.
Seriously.
We need to be worried about fumes and the lack of ventilation in this place. That's our number one concern.
Yes. But anyway, now outside we can meet one of the other people who came into this tomb. His name is Dylan Carter, and he won't really tell us why he's here or who he is exactly, but I guess we learn eventually that he's a tour guide somehow. And he says that the reason he's here is because he thinks this site is going to be big, and he's trying to like get the jump on it by like getting here before it's like open, before it's known who's actually buried here.
Okay.
Really weird. No one likes Dylan. Also, everybody's like, yeah, that we don't know why he's here. He's weird. Like, he should go. Except Lily does think he's cute. So, okay.
Yeah.
But he will give us a handy little fact sheet about the Egyptian pantheon, which also has like more hieroglyphics on it that we'll need. We can also find the other person who came into the tomb in Tunnel 2, and her name is Jamila. She is also cagey about why she's here, but what she will talk about at length is the Anunnaki, aka aliens. She seems to think that they built the pyramids and that she doesn't think that they built the pyramids. She thinks that like they gave humans the technology and that humans built the pyramids as like a tribute to them. Right. Yes. Lord. She will talk about Sunny June's "Are You Alien or Ali Out" course.
That's funny.
Which is funny. So she must be a part of Spied, and who left that brochure in the supply tent, right? I do think it's really interesting, too, that both Dylan and Jamila are British. Whereas, like, you know, no one else is, like, Egyptian or Middle Eastern or anything. Like, just British people are here. So that feels pretty on the nose.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, like taking things from Egyptian, you know, sites. So
yeah, I'm sure you've heard the joke, why are there pyramids in Egypt? Because they won't fit inside the British Museum.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So gosh. But so we have to try to get back into this sarcophagus room. And to do that, we have to find a new light source because our flashlight died in the tomb. And when we try to charge it, the charger like shorts out. Someone actually cut the wires on the charger, which is interesting. And we have to talk about this whole premise of this sabotage situation as well, because a lot of it in my mind does not make a whole lot of sense. I don't know.
No.
But so you can find some lamp oil and a lighter laying around. So you need those things. And there's like a little actual like old-fashioned lamp set into the wall of this tomb. And you can put lamp oil in there and light it and then get like a little puzzle with mirrors so that you can illuminate the whole room. There's actually a couple of those puzzles in this game. And I love these puzzles. I think these are great.
They're so fun.
And now once we're able to see in this room, we can see on the wall that there is some kind of impression for something shaped like a scarab beetle. So we'll have to be on the lookout for that. There's also a box in the corner with canopic jars, each of them containing like a little token with different figures on them. So we'll also need all of those. And then in the tomb, we can actually finally read this curse that is on the wall in here. It says, "Everyone who has been in this place, they are wretches. There is no remedy for them because I know their names. Beware. This is the taste of death. Darkness shall conceal them. As for one who broke the seal," so Nancy, "agonies of death await you." So listen. That's a pretty cursey curse. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. If I read that too, I'd be pretty freaked out. But it is in hieroglyphs. So it's not just like you could just in a dark room that you're gonna be able to read that. You know what I mean? So it's a little unrealistic, I think, that everyone was panicking when they got into the room, but whatever.
That's so funny.
Whatever. But we can also take a look at this sarcophagus, but of course the sarcophagus lid is way too heavy for us to move on our own. We need some kind of like leverage to open it. When we do try to open the sarcophagus, we actually hear like a muffled crash from the entrance of the tomb. So turns out the scaffolding that was like above Abdullah, like in the tomb, like the main tomb, I guess entrance chamber, whatever. There's some scaffolding that Abdullah was standing under that collapsed. He doesn't really seem concerned about it at all. But we can bring up Jamila being at the site to Abdullah, and he will get so mad about this. He really does not like her being here, that he will like leave his spot and go try to kick her off of the site. And so when he's gone, we actually now have the ability to take a look at the wall that Abdullah was looking at before, and we can translate the hieroglyphs there. And it translates to, "This is the tomb of Nefertari."
Okay, this man has been working on this sentence for like 6 hours. Just in this one spot. And when we come talk to him, we're like, "Who do you think is here?" He's like, "I have no way to know." And then this is the tomb of Nefertari.
Says, "This is the tomb of Nefertari," that Nancy can translate in 5 minutes.
Sir, you're useless. You're supposed to be the best archaeologist here. And you're like, I don't know what this says. There could be anybody here. It's so funny.
Also, it's hilarious too because like we could hear him yelling that like he's kicking her out of the site or whatever, but he hasn't actually kicked Jamila out of the site. She just moves locations. She moves from tunnel 2 to tunnel 3.
He'll never find me here.
So funny.
Mm-hmm. So now that the scaffolding has collapsed, we can actually take some of the wooden boards that like fell off of it, and use that to open the sarcophagus. We'll like use it as a lever. And then when the lid slides off, inside is just a smaller sarcophagus and it's locked. There's a set of hieroglyphs on here, and when you translate those, it reads, "The procession of gods begins the reveal." And then there's like a slider puzzle as well that has different faces of different gods. So we'll have to figure out which of the correct gods are the ones that you put in the correct spots. And now for some reason, this is what causes the other scarab tile to just like magically appear where it needs to be found. It's just like on the ground in tunnel number 2, even though we walked past that same spot 75,000 times already. Mm-hmm. It's just there now. No one dropped it. There's no reason it should have just appeared there.
It's so frustrating too because it's not like it's in a spot that you couldn't zoom in on before.
Right.
It's in a spot that that's where we found the other piece of the cat amulet. So like we were literally down there digging in that dirt before.
And it wasn't there.
And now it is there in that dirt? No. No. Should have been in a place we couldn't have seen.
Yeah. Makes me feel dumb. I'm like, was this here a minute ago? And I just didn't see it? No, it wasn't. I know it wasn't there. But it's annoying. But we'll take that scarab tile or whatever, and we'll use that to solve that wall puzzle. When we solve this, it opens up a panel in the wall where you'll actually use those tokens that we found in the canopic jars. And then those tokens, you'll have to like put them in the right order. And then once you do so, it like unlocks the actual like slot in which you put the token, and once it unlocks, you can like turn the tokens. And this actually causes the columns in the front chamber of the tomb to move. I guess they're not structural. I don't even want to know the science of what's involved here. In fact, Abdullah is very shocked to see these columns moving, and we actually make a joke with him that like maybe the aliens moved the columns. Who knows?
It's like such a good joke that Nancy makes too. Yeah. It's like so good. It's so well timed that he's like, ha ha, like very clever. Like
it's good.
It was a good joke. It was a good joke, Abdullah. You gotta laugh.
You gotta give her credit for that one. Yes. But if you like turn around from where Abdullah is standing, you can just like barely see that there's like a doorway up on like what would be a second floor of this chamber. So now that the columns have moved, you can see that it's actually possible to like climb on top of them and use these columns as kind of stairs to get up to where this like doorway is, to get up to the second floor. And so if we go back to that puzzle, and when you turn the tokens on the walls, the ways that you turn them like affects how tall the columns will move up and down.
Question.
So, yes.
Is there an actual way to know what direction to turn them? Because I just had to like figure it out. Like I just had to like kind of guess. I didn't know if there's an actual way to know which direction to turn them or not.
That's a good question. I have no idea. I just did it randomly, and then after like 3 times, Nancy was like, "That's right, exactly. Good job." And I was like, "Oh,
okay."
I thought it was going to be harder than that, but no, you just turn them, and you can like walk out back into the main room to check, see if they've moved at all, and then you just turn them again, and Nancy's like, "That's good. Okay. That's good enough. That'll do the job." And so yes, you move the columns, and then you are able to get up to this second floor room. And in this room, there's a mural painted on the wall. It's actually of 6 gods. And all of these gods are the faces of the gods that are shown on that sarcophagus lid puzzle. So this will help us solve that puzzle. If we go back down into the sarcophagus room and put the same gods in the same order, it will actually open that lid. But on our way out of this upper room, we'll overhear Abdullah yelling at Lily. He calls her foolish and irresponsible and then kicks her off the site. Except she doesn't ever come down into the tomb, and there's no way to leave. So she just kind of stays in her bunk and just sits there the rest of the game.
Is that what it is? Because I thought that he just didn't, like he said he kicked her off the site, but he didn't actually. And then that's just the way that he like talks to her, is like constantly like threatening to fire her and pretending to fire her. And
okay, that tracks.
Later when we talk to him about, this is the thing, is like when we talk to Lily about it, she's like, oh, he's just like that. Like, yeah, he's really harsh, but like he's the best and I need to learn from the best, kind of a thing. And then when we talk to Abdullah about it, he's like, I have to treat her this way. Like, I'm her proving ground. Like, if she can survive me, she can survive anyone and work anywhere that she wants to. So he's just like doing it just to be harsh and mean. So he didn't actually fire her. This is so unprofessional to like shout and say that you're firing someone, but actually not fire them. Like, I can't. Like the whiplash, like I can't imagine working under someone like that. Like, I mean, but maybe he did. Maybe he kicked her off the site, but didn't.
I'm not clear.
I don't know.
I don't know what his intentions are. I don't think he actually wants her fired. He just wants to be abusive and yell at her.
Yeah.
But so yes, so he says like, you're fired, you're off the site, but she doesn't actually leave. She's still here. We can still talk to her. He also tells her, though, she'll never have a career in this field. It's like, well, maybe if she won't actually do any of the digging, that might actually be true. But
yeah. Just wild. Because, like, he hired her. So I don't understand. It's really just that he's an awful guy and he likes to yell at people and likes to be horrible. So.
We do try to ask, and she doesn't really tell us anything that happened. This is all these conversations.
Yes.
They just talk in circles. They don't even answer the question of like, oh yeah, I broke this thing, or like I didn't find the thing I was supposed to do, like,
or like I scratched a glyph or something like that. Like,
we don't find out. She's just like, oh yeah, he's the best. I just have to do better next time. Like, okay,
frustrating.
Yeah. This is the point, though, while we're talking to Lily, this is the point where she will ask us to help her sort the amulets in the relic tent. This is one you said is optional, but if you do this, you'll actually see that there is one amulet missing from this little box. It's the jackal amulet. And actually, after you finish the task, you'll notice that there's like a cut in the back of the tent, like right behind where this little relic table is. And so if you go outside to that spot, Nancy will actually comment like, oh, something... somebody's been here cutting this tent, and she suggests that we should dig in the sand to see if the thief left anything. And so when we do, Nancy will get out her shovel and we can dig, and we'll actually find a little like typed clip. It's not a newspaper clipping,
no,
but it looks like it could be.
It's like,
but
just typed. I don't know.
Yeah, the paper looks almost newspapery, but
like part of an email or something.
Maybe. I don't know. But somebody has said some sort of note to somebody else saying that they'll pay 15,000 euros for a pristine jackal amulet. So this is clearly very lucrative side business for somebody here. And there's something about the buyer wants to request like an offshore account to pay for this. So clearly somebody is messing with the black market here, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of smuggling is going on.
Yeah. Also at this point in the game is when I saw that our water tank had been cut and drained. So we can go over and look at that. And there's like some kind of fragment in like this crack in the water tank that says visitors from the skies. So it seems pretty obvious that it's Jamila who did this. We can talk to Dylan, who is literally sitting right there, like staring at the water tank, and he says he didn't notice anything.
So it was you, Dylan.
What? But so he will help us like distract Lily at this point so we can snoop through her stuff. He like makes us like go talk him up to Abdullah first. Like, oh, tell Abdullah something nice about me, which is really weird. But once we do that, he will leave and go distract Lily for us. But secret surprise benefit to this, he leaves so we can also snoop through his stuff. So we can look inside of his backpack, and in his backpack there are like a ton of tour guide certifications. So that's weird. We could talk to him about that later. There's also a live snake bag in his backpack, and we have to talk about that later, because what is that about?
I somehow missed all of this in my playthrough. None of this
Really?
ever happened in my... I've had it happen years ago in past
Yeah.
playthroughs. I vaguely remember it, but I didn't somehow trigger any of this. That's so
Wow.
funny.
Yeah.
Except the water tank thing. That
Yeah.
did happen, but none of this distracting or snake bag or anything.
Huh. Interesting.
So apparently you can miss quite a few of the conversations.
Wow. Cool. But so now Lily's gone too, because Dylan is distracting her. I don't know where they are that he's distracting her, but whatever. We can snoop through her stuff. So we can go to her bunk and see that her trunk is locked. We'll need like a special like plastic overlay in order to like unlock it. It's like a weird electronic lock. But also we can see that on her nightstand are some sunglasses with a missing rhinestone. So that's going to be relevant later. We can go look in Abdullah's bunk now, which Lily previously wouldn't let us go into, but there's nothing we can see in there yet. The only thing we can note is that his trunk is locked. But now that we know that Order of the Gods from that upper room, we can go open that sarcophagus, like you were saying, Kori. When we do that and put those gods in the correct order, it opens up and unlocks, and inside we find another even smaller sarcophagus. There's a Russian nesting doll sarcophagus.
Yes.
This one also has hieroglyphs on it that says 7 treasures of her making, 4 to lead the people, 3 to follow her path, divided by duty, old preceding young. Recall them here and reach within. So this is obviously referring to Nefertari's children. Hotchkiss will tell us the names of her children, and so we can use those names to like put these little hieroglyph tiles into the correct order. We'll also have to use some of John's notes, and also I think the Pantheon like little chart that what's his name, Dylan gave us, yeah, to open it. But once we do get it open, we'll see that the whole sarcophagus is actually empty. Except for there are some small torn pieces of papyrus that we have to kind of piece back together. When we do piece them back together and translate it, we read that it says, it has like another cryptic poem on it that mentions like a lot of colors in different orders, and that there is like a true tomb to be opened and found here. So this whole sarcophagus was just a decoy, and there is another tomb in this place. Eventually at this point we need to get into Jamila's handbag. Again, this is one of those things where it's like, I don't know how you could be prompted to know this unless you had a to-do list that told you this. So many times my to-do list in this game would like pop up a new thing and I'm like, oh right, I need to do that.
Right.
So I don't know how you would do it without it, but whatever. We can get Jamila to kind of leave her post pretty easily by saying there's like another part of the tunnel that she should see. And then we can try to get into her bag. She has a lock on her bag that's in the shape of an eye of Horus. And we have to push parts of this in the correct order using those numbers from that spied brochure in the relic tent. And once we're able to get inside of her bag, we find that there is an archaeology textbook with some like strange notes inside that Jamila seems to have made that say secrets remain successfully hidden, no suspicions yet, and new site holds promise, clearly belongs to a queen, maybe her daughters are present as well. What could this mean? There is also these spaceship toys. She has like 5 of them in her bag, and Nancy will announce that one of these little spaceship figurines was used to puncture the water tank. So it seems like Jamila must have really done that. But we'll have to talk about that later.
Yes.
There's also a piece of paper in her purse that has like these random letters on it in a grid, and we'll need that. And the next time we talk to Dylan, he will give us another piece of paper that Jamila supposedly dropped. And Nancy will like announce that it looks like a code, and it automatically gets combined with that other piece of paper that we found in Jamila's purse in our inventory. And also at this point, when I was talking to Dylan, he was just being like super vague about how he actually got to the site and how he knew about it. But he gets pretty firm with Nancy at this point when she like keeps asking these really pointed questions, and he tells us that we shouldn't be asking these things and that we need to drop it. So it's kind of sketch and pretty scary, and I definitely want to talk about that later too. And we can confront him about the badges at this point as well that we found in his backpack. And he says that like, oh, that's just part of being a tour guide, and that everybody makes their own credentials. Being a tour guide isn't like a real thing.
I'm sure.
Okay. Interesting.
You don't need a certification for it.
No.
Okay.
But when we look at this paper from Jamila's bag, Nancy will say that the letters that Dylan gave us will create words in like the grid below. And eventually by like solving this puzzle with Nancy's like guidance, we'll get the message blue cat opens to.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. You want to take it, Kori?
Sure. So we remember that there's actually a painting of a blue cat at the end of Tunnel 1, just like painted on the dead end itself. And we'll use like a little paintbrush to dust away some of the dust, obviously, on the wall. And we'll see that there's actually an indentation that's shaped like a cat. And it's actually the exact same size and shape as that little cat relic that we had repaired earlier in the game. And when we put the figurine in that little indentation, a doorway will just like open up in the wall. And actually Dylan appears behind us and is like, step aside, let me be the strong man, let me go in and like prove that it's safe to you. Except it's not safe, because when he goes through, a bunch of rocks collapse on top of him. And he gets like crushed and trapped in here, and we'll have to like, there's like a puzzle, we have to remove some of the stones so that it like doesn't fall completely on him, but it gets some of the pressure off of him. It doesn't actually make any sense which rocks you pull out, because it's like Jenga tower that would definitely fall in real life if you were to try to balance things like that. But we get him out of here, and then he has to like go to the hospital. We don't ever see him again for the rest of the game because he's going to be in the hospital. Yeah, Dylan's done now. Well, actually, at this point, we'll cut to a phone call with John, and we tell him Dylan's in the hospital, and John is really concerned because he's like, okay, this is dangerous now. Like, obviously Dylan's been injured, I've been injured, and now Nancy's in danger, but Nancy is insistent that she is going to stay here no matter what. She does actually wonder, was the collapse like intentional, and was it meant for me and not Dylan? Because I was supposed to be the one going through that doorway. Dylan was just in the wrong place, wrong time. Ugh. So next we'll call Dylan at the hospital. He is in a lot of pain and like isn't very coherent because he's on a lot of pain meds right now.
Kori, why do I find this so funny?
It is funny.
Why do I think it's funny?
It's supposed to be funny.
Is it?
It's written funny, you know.
I guess. The way he's like, like the noises he's making. Schadenfreude, but like I don't know. I just don't like him. I just hate him so much.
I don't like Dylan, but this is supposed to be, it's written to be humorous, you know. But he tells us he has something very important to tell us. He heard a woman's voice when he was lying under the stones. It was speaking an old language, and it was creepy, and he thinks that the tomb is cursed. And he warns us that we need to leave because of this curse.
So many people have told us this now.
I know. I'm sorry. Is the mystery sabotage, or is the mystery the curse, or is the mystery the black market thing, or is the mystery the lost expedition from 60 years ago? What is the mystery? Because it's all so smushy together at this point that I don't know if we're investigating something because we think it's the curse or because we think somebody has intentionally done something.
Well, and also, aren't we supposed to be investigating how John got hit over the head?
We're not going to do that. We're not going to look into it at all.
I thought the jobs that John gave us on that phone call was find out who's in the tomb, which we've done, by the way. We've read on that it says, you know, this is the tomb of Nefertari. on the sarcophagus, we had to put in the names of Nefertari's children. So it's almost definitely the tomb of Nefertari. Like, I mean, we have no other way to, even if we found the mummy, we wouldn't be able to confirm it better than that. You know what I mean? So we basically know that. So the only thing we have left to find out is who hit John over the head.
But we're not making any effort to do that.
Asking. We're not saying, where were you? What would happen during the storm? Like, none of that.
Nope.
None of that. And then when all these other accidents happen, which, theoretically could be related, we're also not doing any investigation into that. Like how the scaffolding falls.
Nope.
Or how this rock thing happens to Dylan. We're not looking into those things at all.
We don't even examine the scaffolding after it falls. We just start pilfering. We're like, that's for me. I'm put this in my pocket. But I'm not going to check to see if any screws were loosened. Nothing like that.
No cuts made. Which, I mean, at the very least, in any classic Nancy Drew game, to determine if something has been sabotaged, you'll go up to it, look, and see that the metal has been cut clean through.
Mm-hmm.
That's so common. They've been doing that since Stay Tuned for Danger. So...
Yeah. But not this time. We're not actually going to investigate the thing that we say we're investigating.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
So we're on the phone with Dylan. He does tell us something else interesting, though. He thinks that there's something up with Jamila's bag because I guess she's like Mary Poppins over here. One minute she'd be reaching in and it's empty. And then the next minute she reaches in again and she pulls something else out. So this tells Nancy there's a false bottom in that bag. And when we looked earlier, we did not find everything that we could have found. At this point, we'll go back to the room that we just opened because we haven't actually been inside here yet. When we go in, there's another lamp puzzle where you have to illuminate the room. And we see that this was Nefertari's cat's tomb.
So sad.
It's so sweet, though.
I know.
This is the minimum that every pet deserves.
Yes.
Have a tomb this elaborate and opulent built for them. They deserve at least this much attention and importance placed on them. Yeah, it's really sad. There's a little cat mummy even.
Yes. Yes. A little tiny cat sarcophagus. There's these little offering gold plates at each corner. One of them has a little cat comb and one of them has a little cat toy.
Mm-hmm. It's very sad to think about a cat passing away, but it's thousands of years old, and someone clearly cared very much for this cat to take the care to do all these things. So in that sense, it's kind of a nice thought that Nefertari's got her kitty with her permanently. It's sad. It's very sad. Yes.
I don't care about Nefertari's mummy.
No, I don't care about that.
Cat mummy.
Yeah. But yeah, so there is in the cat tomb, it's gold as well. Everything in here is golden. There's a little sarcophagus in the middle of the room, and then above that are the bird tiles, which we'll talk about later. And then there's also some puzzles in this room as well. So when you open the cat's sarcophagus and see the mummy, which why would you make us do this? Anyway, there's a necklace that the cat is wearing that we'll need to take because it's in the shape of a little scarab beetle. So we'll use that later. And then underneath the sarcophagus, there's a little pedestal almost that it's on, and there's puzzles embedded inside of this thing. There's actually a scale here where we'll have to determine which of these little mouse figurines are in here with it, which figurine is the lightest one. And when you do this, you'll actually open up a little drawer in this pedestal thing. Inside the drawer, there is a paper written in English, but then there's also a tablet that says the cat's name on it. And a little drawing of the cat. It's very cute. But this paper that's written in English, it seems to be a journal entry from someone searching for the lost queen. They were there with an expedition and found this tomb previously, and they talk about burden of being in something that they refer to as the DON, and that's got periods after it, so it's an acronym. And as you're going throughout the game, there's actually several sets of these papers kind of scattered around the tomb, and eventually you find them all, you put them together, and it makes a little diary entry basically. And on the last page of this journal, there are some instructions about, or it's like a poem about birds, and you'll use this as instructions for how to solve the bird tile puzzle in the cat tomb. It like has little hints about each bird, and you have to press the birds in a certain order. It's very subjective. I don't like this puzzle at all. But when you do this, you'll actually see that some of the bird tiles are missing, and you'll need all of them to solve it. So you'll have to like find the tiles throughout the game. At this point, we head back to the tent, and there is a cobra waiting for Nancy on her bed. And thankfully, Nancy has like one of those trash cans that's got the little like swinging flap lid on it. She's got that in the tent with her. So she gets a stick and like forces the snake into the trash can and like locks the lid.
Way to go, Nancy. Crocodile hunter Nancy.
Right.
Snake wrangler Nancy.
She actually takes this trash can with the snake trapped inside of it and puts it like right in the doorway of the tent.
I'll never get over this.
I don't know why you would do this.
Literally anybody could walk out of that tent and kick it over. It's so close to the front of the tent flap and it's low to the ground. You would never see it. And then you would accidentally, it's not like she doesn't tape this lid closed.
No.
She just stabs some holes in the top of it so the snake can breathe.
It does have a little lock thing on it, but that doesn't seem super sturdy.
Well, and the lock is just on the flap. I feel like the lid of the whole thing is going to come off.
Yeah.
Like, if you kick it over, the lid just comes off. The lid that has the little flap on it. You know?
You would walk right into this thing and the cobra would get you.
But honestly, serves them all right. Every single one of the other people on this dig should have to deal with this cobra.
Oh gosh.
So now that we have this scarab amulet from the cat mummy, we can use this in the scarab indentation in like that original tomb room. And this will open up a puzzle where we have to rearrange these like colored little cobra tiles into their correct locations based on the papyrus from that first sarcophagus that we opened. And when we do that, the whole room shakes and then a door slides open. Through this doorway is a room where there's like these big statues, one of a man and one of a woman. So Ramses II and Nefertari, presumably. A path of stones with different hieroglyphs on it, leading to like this other sarcophagus at the very end of the room that we can't get to yet. We can look around a little more and see on the woman statue is a note which translates to the path lies in destiny. And that is obviously referring to like this stone path with all of these different little hieroglyphs on it. But what could destiny mean? I think, obviously, when you read this, you're like, okay, I have to spell out destiny in the hieroglyphs. Mm-hmm. It's like speak friend and enter. But that's not it. No. And you do have to like do this. Otherwise, if you step on the wrong hieroglyphs on this path, you will get a second chance. So Hotchkiss will actually tell us that Nefertari's cat's name meant destiny. So we have this cat's name on a tablet. And so we have to step on the hieroglyphs in the order of the cat's name to successfully cross this path and get up to this big new sarcophagus. When we finally reach it, it is honestly super impressive. It's gorgeous. It's like entirely made of gold and it's like being illuminated by like this like crack in the ceiling. And so it's like all glittery and everything. It's very cool looking. On the sarcophagus itself are these different symbols that we can press, and they look like symbols from the Senate board. There's also a bird tile next to this sarcophagus, and when we take that, another door will open, which reveals a fourth tunnel that actually connects tunnels 2 and 3. And in that tunnel is a locked gate, which we can't get into just yet. But we can go talk to Lily about, finding this new sarcophagus and ask her about the meaning of these Senate symbols, which will actually help us obviously unlock that sarcophagus a little bit later. But she will encourage us to go tell Abdullah about this discovery that we made. And when we do, Abdullah will, say, oh, I've got to go take a look at this. And he will leave. And when he leaves, we see that he has left a little key hanging off of the scaffolding that he's standing near. This is the key to his trunk. So we can take this and go open his trunk and see that inside is a letter from someone at Kingston University talking about Lily. The letter says that Lily may have plagiarized something, that the whole situation was kind of sketchy and they don't really know what happened, but it's clear somehow that she was kind of involved with someone who was plagiarizing, and that her ethics are probably not great and they don't really trust her. But ultimately they didn't have enough evidence to dismiss her from the program. But they're surprised that Abdullah would have hired her because Abdullah knows about this. So that's really odd. There is also a letter from Sunny June in Abdullah's trunk that says that Jamila is actually not a member of SPIDE. She is not a member of this alien lovers organization or whatever. So why on earth would she lie about that? Very weird.
Very strange.
We can actually go talk to Jamila about this, and still she's very cagey and doesn't want to tell us anything. She will kind of admit here that she doesn't really believe in aliens, but she won't fess up yet as to why she's actually here. We do still need to actually search her bag again, because remember, it probably has a false bottom. So at this point, we can get her to leave again by lying about something else interesting in the tomb. And when she leaves, we can see in her bag, underneath everything, is this hidden compartment. And inside is a newspaper article about Abdullah talking about his claim that Nefertari is here in this tomb. And on this newspaper article, Jamila has written, he's right about the location, who tipped him off. He's a cheater and a thief, and I can't scare him out, but maybe I can make the tomb uninhabitable. Okay.
Interesting.
Oh, we have to talk about this later too.
Yes.
This frustrates me so much. But yeah, okay, so now that we have this bird tile from next to the sarcophagus, we can go back into the cat tomb and push all of those bird tiles in the correct order based on this bird mural in another tunnel that we can see and kind of compare, and then also the poem that's on the that journal entry that we have. And when we do that, another passageway opens. This is the last tunnel that we'll find, and it connects with that fourth tunnel that bisects, and it bisects tunnels 1 and 2. So now, basically, we have those 3 tunnels, and then we also have this tunnel that's bisecting all the tunnels, making one big loop.
Mm-hmm.
And in this new tunnel that we find footprints in the sand. So someone's been in here, somewhat recently. And there's also a torn piece of a clear transparency with numbers on it. This could be from Lily's trunk lock. And then there's also a shiny blue rhinestone from Lily's sunglasses. So Nancy will announce, okay, this is Lily's. Lily has been here. You can also find the last pages of the journal entry in this tunnel as well, and it details how the people in this expedition team keep dying off, and now there's only this one person left who's writing this journal entry. They apparently left a letter of explanation to their daughter, which they talk about, but really it just details how the author of this letter is now dying too, and it ends with, if you're reading these pages, it's too late for you. You're in her tomb. She'll never let you leave.
Oh.
Spooky.
Very
spooky.
Mm-hmm. Oh, did you get the scene with the extra mummy that appears in the sarcophagus?
What do you mean?
So there's 2 sarcophaguses. The first one that we find, and then the gold one. If you go back, after you find the gold sarcophagus, if you go back to the first one and reopen it up, there will be a mummy inside.
No.
And Nancy's like, what the heck? So this actually plays into what Jamila is about to tell us right here.
I've never seen that.
Really?
Really?
I only went back to look at the actual hieroglyphs because I wanted to spell out destiny. And so I was like, what did it say on there? So I went back to look, and I opened it up, and there was a mummy just laying there. And Nancy's like, oh, that definitely wasn't there before. I wonder if anybody else knows about this. Right.
What?
Yeah.
So who put the mummy in there?
It's Abdullah, because Jamila tells us that he stages.
Oh.
Mhm.
Oh.
Right. So when we find all the pages of the journal, we'll go to Jamila, and she says that, oh, yeah, I'm here because I know that Abdullah stages his dig sites, that he has, different relics and things that he finds from places and then puts them there to make it more interesting.
See,
so that explains the mummy. He put it there to make it seem like we'd found something.
That's wild, though, because
Mhm.
whenever she says this, I don't picture that Abdullah has a full-on mummy. I
Nope.
think, okay, he just has, like, small relics that are
Mhm.
easy to, get his hands on or whatever and
Yep.
hide. How do you have a whole mummy?
A full mummy that you're dragging through this tomb to
How
put in
did
the
he get it
sarcophagus.
there?
No
Like-
idea.
How? Because he can't. It's not like it's hidden in his trunk and he's just going in there and pulling it out.
Nope.
Like someone would have had to bring that here to him.
Yeah. That's huge.
That's wild. No, that's crazy.
A sign right there of a really bad archaeologist if they're
There's no
behaving
way.
this way and endangering the things that they do find so that they can bolster their reputations.
That's wild.
So yes, Abdullah has been doing this. Jamila has confirmed it. She says that she hates him because Egypt is not for sale and men like him have plagued Egypt for far too long.
Preach, girl.
Yes. Well, that's very accurate. She says that it is her destiny to make sure Nefertari is returned to where she belongs, which by that she means by the side of Ramses II. Apparently, Ramses II knew that men like Abdullah would plunder Nefertari's tomb, so he had her hidden and called upon Jamila's bloodline. Oh yeah, here we go. Every daughter in her family has been sworn to protect Nefertari. And when Jamila was little, she was told that her mother died in a car accident. But then, at some point, a letter arrived that was the letter that her mother had written to confess how she had really died following Nefertari. And it's all this like birthright that she has.
Oh, this is wild.
So she came here to protect Nefertari from Abdullah and pretended to believe in aliens because she thought that this would be the perfect cover story, because Abdullah thinks that people who believe in aliens are stupid, and if he has a stupid person, he's not going to care about them. And so she's hiding in plain sight because he won't see her as a threat if she presents herself as this quote-unquote stupid person.
Okay. So question.
Yes.
So is the person whose journal entry we're reading, is that supposed to be her mother?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I always assumed too, but I also assumed that letter was supposed to be from the original expedition that died here 60 years ago. And so there's no way that Jamila's mother died 60 years ago. Jamila ain't 60.
Right. Okay. So I thought that her mother was part of this expedition, and that's the only reason we bring it up, and that's the only reason it's relevant. But yeah, is Jamila 40 or 50 and her mother died 60 years ago? No. She doesn't look like she's 40 or 50.
Even if she was 40 or 50, wait, no. I can't think of, I don't know math. It doesn't make sense. The timeline doesn't make sense. Yeah.
That's really
There's no
long
way.
time ago to be Jamila's mother. Jamila looks like she's probably in her 20s, maybe 30s.
Yes.
She looks young.
So, like, in order for her to be born, her mother would have had to have been alive 20 or 30 years ago.
Right.
So, but that means then that either that journal entry was not written by Jamila's mother, or that there were multiple expeditions to this tomb, or that the 60 years ago thing that Nancy literally tells us in the cutscene at the beginning of this game was wrong. Like,
yeah,
that's
it's not actually 6 years ago.
Actually, 6 years ago. It was like 20 years ago.
I assume that this was her mother, because first of all, the previous expedition doesn't make any difference to what we're doing here now.
No.
It's not relevant at all. The Daughters of Nefertari thing, not relevant to anything, unless that's what this is.
Yeah.
So it's really only a cover story for Jamila?
But the thing is like, why are they leaving us a letter, like a journal entry that says, I left a letter for my daughter, and then Jamila brings up, I read a letter from my mother. Like, that has to be a connection. Like, that can't be just coincidence.
Right. It has to have something to do with her mother. Because, like, she knows that her mother died looking for Nefertari, the last time anyone was in here was 60 years ago with that last expedition. There was not a second expedition after 60 years ago and before now.
And the letter like specifically talks about the same things happening to her team that's out here with her at this tomb that we talked about happening to the expedition previously. How like they all like caught illnesses and started dying off. Like that's what she's saying is happening to everyone on her expedition. It's like all these freak accidents and storms and illness and all of that. So it has to be the same, but it's just they just got the dates wrong, which is so incredibly sloppy. Because it's not like it was just one line in like dialogue or like on in a book or something like that. No, it's literally the opening sequence to the game.
And we repeat it multiple times that it was 60 years ago.
What?
Where did the key come from?
Oh, yeah. Well, we haven't gotten there yet.
We haven't gotten there.
No, I know. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. How does she have that? How does she have all of this information on how to get out of the tomb, which she gives us later?
How did she know that? How did she, when we find that newspaper article about Abdullah, how did she know before arriving here that was definitely Nefertari's tomb? Because she wrote something about like he knows where the tomb is and he's right about it. How did she know he was right?
It's almost
if she hadn't been here yet.
Her mother couldn't have died in the tomb. Like her mother couldn't have died. You know how like the letter is like, "Oh, I'm gonna die soon." She must have gotten out.
She couldn't have though, because she did die before.
Well, but no, remember how the time doesn't work out. So, like, maybe she leaves that letter, but no, she can't, her mom can't be that old.
No.
There's no way. There's no way. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
And where are you'd have to have at least one person's remains. I get that they all died off one by one, and so she buried them. But where are her remains if she died in here?
Where are the rest of these people's remains?
Right. Maybe she buried most of them in the sand, but you would have at least one dead body down here.
Unless
at least
Jamila has found this before. Like, maybe Jamila has come to this tomb before. Like, yes, we only know about the one expedition, but clearly someone else had to have been here before to be able to give us the things that she gives us later, and then also to remove these people's bodies.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense. There's so many plot holes with this.
Yeah. Ugh. I think, I mean, a lot of this I have thought of before, specifically how the letter doesn't make any sense, but I never thought about how, like, the key that she gives us to get out later doesn't make sense, and the information doesn't make sense. And I think that's because whenever we get to the end of this game, I'm, like, so grateful that it's almost over that I'm just like, okay, let's just wrap it up. Let's just wrap it up. Let's get out of here.
And there's no way she could have come here previously to get this key to then take and bring it back at this point, because then where did the key come from, and how did the group 60 years ago not just be able to use the key to get out? You know?
Well, okay, so I do think that the gate itself that we get this key to unlock this gate that's in that tunnel later, that has to be a later addition. That gate and the way that it's constructed and the way that the metal is constructed does not look ancient Egyptian.
No, it doesn't.
And now that could just be like an oversight from the design team and Her Interactive. I don't know. But in my head, it's like that had to have been added at a later date. And it seems like that would be a way that like someone in an expedition that has come here previously would have set up in order to safeguard the site. Like that makes sense to me. You know?
Sure, okay.
Because you see gates on like tombs like that all the time so that people can't just get in and, you know.
That makes sense, yeah.
Mess everything up. But how that key came to be in Jamila's possession and how she knows about it doesn't make sense. Yeah. I don't know.
We haven't finished the summary yet. Gosh.
We haven't. We still have more.
So Jamila's here to protect Nefertari from Abdullah. And then at this point, she gives us the other half of the transparency for Lily's trunk. Again, not sure why or how she should have this, but Lily's not in the tent right now, so we can use this to unlock her trunk. And when we do, finally, we will find a book about snakes and a business card for a place called Reptile Emporium. And then we'll also find a piece of John's notes that had been torn off. This piece of paper gives us some information about how to press the Senate symbols that are on the sarcophagus. It gives us the information that we need in order to know what the right order to press those in is. And when we're done investigating the trunk, we'll automatically trigger another sandstorm. And Nancy will make a comment that we need to shelter inside the tomb because the sandstorm is too strong. And of course, this is like the end game. So now that we know how to open the sarcophagus, we might as well do that. And when we do, we find Nefertari. Presumably this is her. And then we hear Lily's voice behind us. Nancy accuses her of orchestrating the accidents, and Lily acts guiltily, but ultimately says she can't say why she did all the things that she did. And then the ceiling collapses. Basically, like, on Lily. She's okay, but she's, like, trapped, and the, like, debris is in between us and her. Do you want to take the end here?
Sure. So we can still go out of this tomb the other way. Like, there's 2 tunnels to get here, so we can go out through the other tunnel. But the main entrance to the whole site is, like, blocked as well. So we're, like, trapped inside the tomb itself. Jamila is still inside as well, and we can go to her for help. And she says that Abdullah did all of this. Did what exactly? Made the sandstorm happen? Made the cave collapse? She doesn't say what he did.
Right.
She just says Abdullah did all of this. And we're just supposed to, like, accept that. And she says that she's going to go help Lily. And she gives us this signal box to go above through a second exit that only she knows about. And she gives us this key to open this gate. That's that in that new tunnel we found that we were just talking about. And she also gives us a poem that we need to get through this exit somehow. And she tells us that if we see Abdullah, we should run.
Okay.
Everything's moving very quickly now, and none of this makes sense.
No.
So, but what we do, we go through this gate, and there are some stairs that lead up to, like, this upper area above what I think is supposed to be the room that Jamila typically stands in Tunnel 3. Is that the impression that you have, Kori?
Oh, no. I thought we were back in the main room, like, next to the entrance to that, like...
I mean, I think that would only make sense because I feel like we can see the ceiling very clearly of the room that Jamila is standing in. But, you know, the floor tiles are, like, super weird in the room that Jamila is in. They're, like, raised and, like, you can see, like, the colored bits. That's what it looks like to me that we're seeing on the floor.
No, I never really even thought about this. I just assumed we were back in... Let me pull up a picture of this.
But then why does the floor look like that? Because, okay, we're in this room that's like an above shot. It does look like we're in a room that's pretty tall because we're on, like, the second floor of it, looking out over to this floor on the ground, like a floor below us. And on the floor are, like, these square tiles that have, like, different colored squares on each side of them. So, like, there's, like, a little tile and it's got, like, red, blue, yellow, and green on each side. And what we have to do, we haven't gotten quite there yet.
Do you mean where it, like, slides out from the wall, and if you get it wrong, you have to, like, spin the thing?
No, sorry. I jumped the gun. Because, yes, that's what happens first. First, we have to get across this, like, pathway where on the wall there are these tiles that we have to turn to, like, put the correct god's head on the body in order according to the poem that Jamila gave us. And this will open up, like, this walkway along the side of this second floor that we can get to.
And this is, like, the main room, right?
This might be the main room.
Okay,
I don't know.
Okay. That's what I thought we were talking about just now. Yeah.
Sorry. But this leads us eventually, once we do that correctly, and this is actually a really hard puzzle. I always mess up on this. So, like, I just automatically skip to the solution because I don't have time for this. But it'll, like, continually shrink the pathway each time you get it wrong so that Nancy will just, like, eventually fall off if you get it wrong enough times. But once you get it correctly, you can get all the way across this room. And then we are in this, second floor where I think it's supposed to be above the room Jamila is standing in.
I guess.
because it has those tiles on the floor, which is what I was talking about. And what
That
we
makes
have to
sense.
do is like turn these tiles so that like we make a pathway, like a connecting pathway, like when the colors match up, like if you connect a blue to blue, it'll make a pathway. And we have to do that to get to the exit. But then Abdullah shows up. He appears down below, and we can confront him and like tell him like, you won't get away with this. What he won't get away with, I don't exactly know.
Yeah.
But that's what we say to him. And he says that, like, no, Nancy's not going to get away with it. And that actually she should consider herself lucky because we'll have a beautiful tomb for all eternity. So I guess Abdullah is threatening to kill us in this tomb. This is wild. This is all happening so fast. And still, I don't even know what Abdullah supposedly has done. But now I guess he's threatening to murder us. So we have to make this path between these tiles to get out in time. But every time we turn one of the tiles, Abdullah is like off to the side and on these little stepping stones. And every time we turn one of the tiles, he will progress one stepping stone. And if he makes it all the way to the end, we get a second chance. This is so weird. This is such a poorly like executed like puzzle. First of all, it's basically the exact same ending as Creature of Kaput Cave.
Yes, it is. It breaks the immersion because you're like in this like weird third person.
It doesn't make any sense. The setting doesn't make any sense. It looks like we're suddenly on a game board.
Yeah.
Which, what? It doesn't, it's so, yeah, I totally agree with you. It takes you totally out of it. I'm like, where are we? What is this supposed to be? What are we turning to make a pathway? And how are we as Nancy moving on this pathway if we're above it on the second floor? Because we can see Abdullah down below. It's like a bird's eye view. We're seeing the top of his head. We're not seeing him across the room.
Right.
Or even
I don't understand
close
this.
enough. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, when we do that in time, or in little enough moves, we can get across and get outside of the tomb. And then when we do that, Abdullah shows up and confronts us anyway. So we don't even like evade him.
Nope.
He comes out, but luckily, before we're even able to radio anyone with the signal box that Jamila gave us, John just magically shows up and he hits Abdullah over the head. Which I guess, yay, go John or whatever. But like, where did you come from?
Right.
Weren't you in the hospital? When did you get here?
Right.
And yeah, and then that's the end. And we cut to Nancy's ending letter, and she says that the police come and arrest Abdullah. Lily was rescued from the tomb and then also taken into custody, but she was released once Abdullah claimed all responsibility for the accidents. And she's since switched her specialty from archaeology to paleontology, which is funny because she was joking earlier about how she wished she had stayed in paleontology to avoid all this cursed business. Dylan has recovered from his accident and will be continuing his tours. So I guess he really was just a tour guide all along. And then Jamila is now getting along with John, and John has promised to have Nefertari moved to be with Ramses II. And Hotchkiss is also revising her book to include this new discovery of Nefertari's tomb. And then that's it. Nancy is like, I'm really ready to go home. And then she makes a joke because she like accidentally forgets to let the cobra out of the trash can. So she has to like go release the cobra. And that's the end of the game.
LOL.
Haha. So yeah. Oh, see,
it's even worse once we've done this summary because now the plot holes are even more glaring.
It's so the ending is so bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's the thing. It's like I wouldn't be so upset with it if the ending wasn't so terrible.
It's so rushed. It happens like so quick. Yeah.
It happens so fast. There's no explanation of what actually happened. And then suddenly and the ending that we get of like the explanation of what everyone has like been doing is like unsatisfying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, Abdullah gets arrested, great, but like what's he charged with? Like what is happening with his case? Like what's the resolution here? And I mean, I guess, John says that he's going to move Nefertari to be Ramses II. But is that what we want? Like,
I guess.
and so Jamila just gets what she wants, which is fine, whatever, but there's no, like, what are we doing with the site? Like, we've found a lot of information here. Like, shouldn't we be wanting to, like, I guess Hotchkiss is, like, revising her book, but, like, Hotchkiss is the one who's telling a story. She wasn't even here. I want John to write a book. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just, and then Dylan, all this time, we're supposed to think that he's the one who stole the jackal amulet, that he's the one who's involved in, like, the, you know, the black market stuff, but he's literally not.
Right.
He's literally here for the exact reason why he says he's here.
To scope out his tour stuff.
To scope out his tour stuff. Which is like, then why were you being so sketchy and telling us to stop asking questions about how you got here and everything?
Yeah. So what actually happened? So we have John was assaulted. I assume Abdullah hit him over the head.
I guess. Or Lily. Possibly.
One of the two. Which Abdullah claims all responsibility in the end. So either he took the fall just to be nice, or he actually did it.
So, I mean, they don't ever say this is the problem.
Right.
But, I mean, it's pretty obvious that Abdullah has hired Lily because of her, like, academic scandal or whatever. And so he's hired her so that he can blackmail her, presumably, into doing his bidding. So, like, helping with all of the sabotage, right? It's pretty obvious that she's the one who put the cobra on her bed because she had the book about snakes and then the Reptile Emporium card in her trunk.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he must have told her, forced her, kind of blackmailed her into doing that, and or any of the other assorted sabotage things that have been happening around the site.
That makes sense.
It makes sense, but we don't explain any of that. I have no idea why in the confrontation that we have with Lily when we're in the sarcophagus room at the very end, why she doesn't admit to that. Why she doesn't say, look, I know this looks bad, but I swear I didn't have a choice. Abdullah made me do it.
Right. No, we don't say that.
She should have just said, Abdullah made me do it. Abdullah, knows about, my issue at school and he's taking advantage of me or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole reason why I'm here. And then our whole conversation with Jamila would make so much more sense because she would just say, yeah, Abdullah is responsible for all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And we would understand by that point. And then she should run through the list of sabotage just to wrap it up, just so that we could get an answer.
So we have John's assault, and then, like you said, the snake thing. We're pretty sure Lily did that.
But then why does Dylan have a live snake bag in his backpack?
JIC, he's on a tour and a snake comes along? I don't know.
I guess.
And then we have two different times where the ceiling collapses and rubble falls on someone.
Right.
Did Lily do that to herself, or did Abdullah do both of those, or was that the curse and it's just an old
or the
tomb
storm
and it just fell, or the storm like maybe loosened something up? And then we have, what else do we have?
The rubble on top of Dylan.
Yeah, that's the other
I'm
case of
sure
rubble.
Was intentional because Lily specifically kind of mentions that in her speech. Like, I think Nancy asks her about that, and she is like, yes, but like I didn't want to do it, kind of a thing.
So we have both of those, and then we also have the scaffolding falls.
Scaffolding fall. Which, okay, if Abdullah is sabotaging a site, why is he sabotaging the scaffolding that he's literally standing under?
Why is he sabotaging at all? What is his goal out of this?
I don't know.
Is it fame? Is it explaining that things have gone missing for black market purposes, that he's selling things off on the side? Is he the one doing that?
I think he's trying to get rid of Nancy. So he gets rid of John, right? Mm-hmm. Because he wants John off the site so that it's easier for him to stage it and get his fame, right? If John's not associated with the project anymore, he can claim all of the fame, put whatever he wants in here, say whatever he wants about the site, and John can't really do anything because he wasn't there. Nancy is now becoming an issue now that John's gone because she's kind of investigating everything. And so I think he's having Lily sabotage us with the snakes and the rocks. I think the rest of it is supposed to be from Jamila. I think Jamila is also sabotaging the site because you remember how she says on the note on the newspaper article that maybe she can make the tomb uninhabitable. So
Which
I think
explains the water thing.
Explains the water, also explains the scaffolding fall above Abdullah. She probably did that. But then
I could buy that. Yeah.
But then I mean, but then the crime, then what is the crime that's happening?
Right.
If our quote unquote bad guy and our quote unquote good guy are doing the same things,
right?
So what's the it just
is it just assaulting John? Is that the only crime?
I guess, but then we need to lay that out at the end. We need to say, Jamila needs to say, look, yes, I did some things I'm not proud of to try to get Abdullah out of here. Admit to slashing the water tank. Admit to doing any other of the sabotage that she did, she said. But she needs to say Abdullah did everything else. Abdullah is the one who hit John over the head. I saw him, but I couldn't say anything or whatever. You know what I mean? Or she can say Abdullah must have hit John over the head. And then whenever we have the confrontation with Abdullah, he needs to confess and say, yes, I did that. I hate John. I need John out of here, and give his actual motive.
Right.
So that we can have some kind of understanding. But we don't get any of that. We just have to kind of connect the dots ourselves. And even in Nancy's wrap-up letter, we don't get that. I feel like sometimes, yes, that might be the case in previous games, but then at the end, in Nancy's exposition, she will explain what it is she's pieced together.
Right.
But she doesn't do that either.
But the game never even actually confirms that Abdullah hit John. It never comes out and says that. We never even say, officially, yeah, John wasn't just hit by something flying in the wind. We don't get a confession. We get nothing but weird side implications that maybe...
And I still don't really believe that it was Jamila who sabotaged the water tank, because that just seems like an incredibly reckless thing to do. Because the one hint that we kind of get about it, or we get two hints. We get obviously the clue of the fragment of the little alien toy or whatever. But then also Bess or someone, whenever we call on the phone, or John maybe, will say that whoever did it must have water squirreled away.
And we never investigate this.
We never investigate that. The only person who really has water is Dylan.
He has a water bottle next to his chair.
Yeah. I think he has one in his backpack too, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. So it's wait, so is it Dylan? Or did Jamila do it? Because Jamila doesn't have any water in her purse. She doesn't have any water anywhere else on her stuff. So why would she do it? If, unless, there's just stuff that we aren't finding, which is but then why are we saying that if we're not going to follow up on that point?
Dylan had the opportunity, but no motive that I can see.
No.
That seems pretty stupid to do something like that unless he has a reason. And nobody has water squirreled away. There's just a literal case of water bottles in the main bunk tent. So anybody could just go and grab a couple of those for themselves. Okay.
I don't get it.
I'm not clear on who did what.
Poorly executed. Yeah.
I'm really not. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably one of the worst endings in all of the Nancy Drew games, honestly. This ending is worse than, Midnight in Salem.
Yeah.
This ending is worse than Seven Keys.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. Because at least in those, we get, those big scenes, or, we get, the resolution where we go around and talk to everyone and kind of, understand, you know?
Yeah.
A final scene kind of a situation. We don't get that in this. We don't get any explanation. We get Nancy's letter, but she doesn't explain what happened. She just says what happens after the fact.
One of the most forgettable games. I literally sometimes will forget who the culprit is because I can't remember if it is supposed to be Lily or if it's supposed to be Abdullah, because there's so much weirdness thrown on each one of them.
It's almost sorry, this might be an Agatha Christie spoiler, but
Uh-oh.
like it's almost like Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh yeah,
it's
like
everyone
working together.
They all did it, literally though, because it's like, well, Lily did sabotage, Abdullah did sabotage, Jamila did sabotage. Dylan, I guess maybe he's the only one who's not.
Dylan was
involved,
up to something sketchy, just nothing happened. Yeah, he just was injured before he could do anything.
So
it could have been really strong. I feel like this is a game that they had like wanted to make for a while. If you're thinking about edutainment, Egyptology has to be really up there with what is going to be appealing for their like target age range, you know?
Yeah.
And then to kind of butcher it the way that they did. Not that they butchered Egyptology, but they butchered the execution of the game.
I think so.
Especially by spending so much time on this Anunnaki nonsense. It didn't help anything.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the alien of it all. Yeah. I mean, like, I understand the inclusion of that point into this game because up until now, throughout the PC games, we have kind of had that alien plot point, right? With Sunny June. Okay. So Sunny June in Scarlet Hand, it was like, oh yeah, he thought that the aliens, built the Mayan temples, like, because whatever, he's
it's supposed to be funny. He's supposed to be like a,
and it's
comedic
supposed to be like
thing.
It doesn't matter because he's not here, like it's not impacting anything. And so it would be funny if like, yeah, maybe there was like a reference to a Sunny June thing or whatever, but no one actually believed in that, and it wasn't like affecting how things are happening in the story, but it really does. Like, and I understand that Jamila doesn't actually believe that aliens built the pyramids, or that I guess humans built the pyramids and as a tribute to the aliens. But it's still there, and it's still kind of affecting the dynamics of everyone. It's like a major plot point here. It's not just like a background fun joke or whatever. And also, like, that is a real belief that a lot of people have that is incredibly damaging. So it's kind of a lot. It's a lot to put in the game, and it does take the emphasis away from what could be a lot more actually about Egypt's actual history. We're talking about aliens. We're like reading aliens or Sunny's spied brochure. We're like talking to Abdullah, who is supposed to be the world's premier archaeologist, about aliens. Like,
it's a waste of time.
Why can't we be talking to him about Egypt?
It's not humor. But
anyway, I understand why it's included in this game. I don't think it should have been given as much of a focus as it was, but whatever. But what I cannot understand is because later, after this game, we get another game which heavily features Sunny.
And Jamila is a phone character in that game as well,
Jamila is a phone character in that game, that's correct. And in that game, we basically confirm, kind of, that the Anunnaki are real?
Which is egregious. That's a crime against Nancy Drew games. I'm sorry. We don't need to be lending any validity to that.
But what does that mean about this game?
Right.
If in a later game we say, oh, okay, I mean, at least some of like they kind of do it in a weird way, which of course we'll talk about when we eventually cover that game, which maybe we never will. Of course we will, but
we will.
I don't want to. But whenever we cover that game, we'll talk about it. But they kind of do it in a weird way. But basically, they say that like this idea or this concept about the Anunnaki is kind of real. So if that's true in the Nancy Drew universe, and it's fully accepted at the end of that game that is the truth, what is that supposed to mean about the actual Egyptian pyramids?
Right.
And what we're saying about how and why they were constructed?
I just don't have any patience for that. I just don't. Why are we making these choices?
Because that's wild. When we fully had all of these conversations about, Ramses II and Nefertari and how he wanted to build this tomb for her that was out of the way and secreted away so that she could be safe and protected. So no. Actually, what we're saying is that Ramses II built this tomb as a tribute to the Anunnaki.
Mm-hmm.
What? Or even going all the way back to Secret of the Scarlet Hand.
Oh, God.
That no, the Mayans built their temples as a tribute to the Anunnaki. What are we doing?
Oh,
what
it's
are we
fine.
doing?
It's fine, like in Scarlet Hand, to have the comedic relief of Sunny June's little notes and everything, because it's just a little blip. It's a side thing. This is like the main. No, you're the edutainment game company, and you don't get to pull this with game number 26. You just don't get to do it. I'm sorry.
Well,
it's
they
too
did.
weird.
They did it, Kori. They did it. Yeah, so that's disappointing for sure.
To go from Secret of the Scarlet Hand to this, around this time, they were like, what if we did STEM? What if we like fully embraced STEM? And so we have like this game with archaeology. We have Deadly Device gets really into it. Labyrinth and Flies. All of these games just don't even hold a candle to Scarlet Hand, which wasn't even like trying that hard to
10
be
years
STEM or archaeology. Easily, right?
Yeah. This game came out in 2012.
Okay, yeah. 2002 would have been Scarlet Hand, I believe. So yeah. Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen, I'm not against just making a game for entertainment's sake. I'm not against that. That's fine. But it's from a company that has established themselves as like an educational game company to pivot so hard and waste such an opportunity for such great edutainment. It's sad. It's sad for me. And I don't want to I don't want to knock your joy. I don't want to yuck your yums. If you really like this game, then I'm glad for you. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you have something you enjoy. But as someone who enjoyed those early games so much, to see this now as being what's presented as educational, I'm like, it's sad. It's sad.
I legitimately learned so much about the Maya from Secret of the Scarlet Hand.
To this day, I know stuff about the Maya that I could spit out because of that game.
And Marie Antoinette because of Treasure in the Royal Tower. And then we come to this, and I'm like, I don't know anything about Nefertari that I didn't already know before.
No.
You know?
Actually, that's not true. The only thing I know is that she's associated with Ramses II. I didn't know that before. But now I know it. But,
The game... You shouldn't have had a whole video game, and that's all you took away from it, you know?
Right.
Is that they were married. Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's like the most basic level information.
I don't know when they were alive, Kori.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
I couldn't tell you what dates they ruled.
I couldn't tell you anything about any Egyptian dynasty. None of them.
I couldn't tell you anything about where they lived. Like, I mean, I know that this tomb is outside of Cairo. Where outside of Cairo? I don't know.
Outside of Cairo is a big place. That could be hours away.
That could be here.
Yeah. You could be 10 hours away from Cairo, and we wouldn't know it.
Anything about like Egypt's geography?
Yeah, we don't even see a map of where we are.
No. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about like, what's going on at the time in the world. Nothing.
Nope.
Nothing.
I know that Egyptians liked cats.
Yes, that's true.
That's
but
something I went in knowing that. Yes.
Yeah.
But that's really the only thing that the game tells us. Like,
I don't know anything about mummification.
I learned the name of the salt that they used in the process.
We're literally here to find a mummy. We're not learning anything about the process of mummification.
No.
That's
the canopic
wild.
jars, and that's about as far as we go with the mummification process.
But we don't even talk about how they would put organs in canopic jars.
There is a book that explains that part.
Oh, okay.
But like a paragraph in a book that doesn't count as your edutainment for the day. That should be like a side piece of information. Right.
In order for it to be educational entertainment, you have to use the information, the education in the game itself.
And
that's how it becomes
names of children?
Edutainment. Yeah, that's it. That's really it. And hieroglyphs. Kind of, but not really hieroglyphs.
Because that's not actually how you would translate hieroglyph.
Because that's not actually how you do it.
That's not a real world practical use.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if we had gotten like a rundown from Abdullah of actually how you would go about translating hieroglyphs, and then in the mini game, like, yeah, maybe it looks a little bit different in how you actually have to do it, but we did get like, this is how you know what this means, and this is what this symbol means, like, and this is the order with which you would read it, and that hieroglyphs are, you know, images that are meant to convey an idea, like. We got just like simple, easy information like that. We don't get that. We don't get that. And
missed opportunity. What are you doing, Her Interactive?
It just doesn't make sense.
No.
It just doesn't make sense. And I get that we're like leading with like creepy mummy curse horror slightly, you know, but we don't even really get fully that. So it's like we're not really accomplishing anything here. The only thing that I think that this game excels at is the whole like escape room vibe to it. Like the aspect of you're in the tomb and you open another room and then you open another room and then you open another room, or you open a sarcophagus, which opens another sarcophagus and then opens another sarcophagus.
I'm okay with that. Yeah.
I'm good with that. I think the flow of that works really well, but the kind of justification around it and why we're doing it doesn't ground us enough to like make it enjoyable, unless you just like puzzles for puzzles' sake, which some people do, and I lean towards that, you know, but like I do need a good story also in the game for it to be good. So it's just it's just disappointing.
Story's terrible. It's so bad, y'all.
It's bad. Anyway.
What else?
I don't know. I don't think I have anything else.
Well, that's fine. We can be done with this. Put us out of our misery. No. Gosh.
Yeah.
Some of this is so bad. Sorry, I'm just reading through your notes here.
Yeah, me too. I will say Nancy asks Abdullah some really stupid questions in this game, which is like, no wonder he's so annoyed with Nancy, because she'll ask him, why do some of the hieroglyphs not make sense?
I don't know, Nancy. Maybe because it's from a dead language that you don't speak.
And then also she'll ask him, do you think international teams have stolen artifacts from Egypt?
No. That's why there's no artifacts anywhere else in the world but Egypt.
Oh my God. Okay, listen, it would be one thing to like set that up as like, oh yes, we're all learning together that like, you know, the Brits basically stole everything from Egypt. Like that would be one thing, you know? But we don't specifically talk about that. Like it's not really a teaching moment. It's just Abdullah says, no, I know they have. And then we move on.
Yeah.
So he needs to say like, yes, obviously we have serious international relations issues because the British
problem.
Will still not return a lot of our artifacts. Like it's a big problem. Like
it's been a problem. It's well documented.
Yes. Like
we don't know how to make it stop. It's ongoing.
Or read like a news article about like something that's happening on that front.
Oh yeah, that'd be easy.
Know?
That's
that would
good.
be easy to do. And then we could learn like, oh yeah, okay, so this is a problem. Because I understand that like kids playing this game may not know that. Yeah, that's fair. But like how can we just do these throwaway lines and then not
use it for anything?
Use it. Yeah. But,
oh my gosh.
you know, let's just add that to the list of reasons why this game doesn't give us good information. But yeah, I think that's all I have.
Yeah. Flashlight score?
Oh God. I really don't hate this game that much. This is the thing. Because when I play it, I'm like annoyed, but I'm also not that annoyed. Like there are other games that annoy me a lot more than this. Like Labyrinth of Lies. The New Zealand one that I can never remember.
Oh, Shattered Medallion.
Because I block it out of my memory. That one annoys me a lot more than this.
That's fair though.
But it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad as far as quality goes. So I'm going to give it like a 2.5.
Really?
Yeah.
It always surprises me when I play this one because I don't think I hate it, and then I'm always surprised by how much fun I don't have. I don't know. It's just like, oh, and then you go through it, it just kind of drags, and in the end, it's just like this chaotic, speedy confusion fest.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it a 2. I think
that's fair. That's fair. I only gave it a 2.5 because I think otherwise it would definitely be a 2. I think the things that don't make it a 1 are the beautiful art in the game.
Mm-hmm.
The sound design is also pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty like ambiance wise, it's good. The setting isn't as expansive as I want it to be, but what is there is pretty good, I think. Some of I like the puzzles in the game. Some of them I find annoying, but that's kind of par for the course. There's always puzzles I don't like in each Nancy Drew game, On the whole, I think most of them, the puzzles are pretty well executed, even if they don't make a whole lot of sense. But all of the rest of it is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So the 2 is how it gets that, and the 0.5 is for the fact that I don't have a horrible time while I'm playing it until we get to the end. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, we did it.
We did
We're
it.
done.
Thank goodness.
I'd rather play Lights, Camera, Curses because that's kind of the Egypt theme instead,
Yeah. Lights, Camera, Curses, though, I feel like is good. That has a good story.
The dossiers are different. You just have to go in accepting that they're different, but it is fun.
It's
I do
a
like
hidden
the story.
object puzzle game more than it's a adventure game like this, But yeah. But also it's like Hollywood.
Right, yeah. It's definitely not set in Egypt, even though it's like the set of an Egyptian themed movie.
Right.
If I said that right, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
We do have something very exciting up next. We have to thank our friend John for even telling us that this existed, because I had no idea until after he told us. But y'all, one of the games has an official sequel that Her Interactive actually did help, or they
signed off on
or consulted at least on the writing of this book. Do you want to tell us what it is?
Sure. So it's actually a graphic novel. It is one of the Nancy Drew paper cuts graphic novels, if you're familiar with those, that are, I guess, technically in the Nancy Drew Girl Detectives world.
They are, but it's a different author, so I have high hopes for that.
And this is number 8 in that series called Global Warming. And
Warning.
Oh, sorry, yes, Global Warning.
Yes.
And let me just read the back of this for you guys so that you guys can get a little taste of this because it sounds so wild. Okay. Famed billionaire environmentalist Cherry Goldie, I'm not sure how you pronounce that name, has constructed high-tech biodomes in River Heights.
Of course.
To help save the planet. But what happens when creatures such as Sasquatch, Okale Kane, and the abominable snowman are found lurking about after a gross green substance destroys one of the domes? Nancy Drew, along with Bess and George, attempt to uncover the truth without dooming the project or the world. And then it says, also featuring Malachi Craven, the mysterious new character introduced in Her Interactive's latest and greatest PCA game, Nancy Drew number 15, The Creature of Kapu Cave.
Yay! So yeah, sequel to Kapu Cave, which it was very necessary given that game. We needed a little follow-up, so.
Oh, look, I think I found a picture of him.
Oh, that's him. That's gotta be him. Oh my gosh. That looks just like him.
Yeah, so I'm very excited. A sequel in graphic novel format.
Right. And we get to read another graphic novel. I'm so excited.
Yes. And I've never read any of the Paper Cuts graphic novels before. This will be my absolute first one. I didn't even know there were 8 of them.
Oh,
that's crazy.
No, there's like 50 of them.
What?
Let me pull up the list because there's a ton of these.
I thought there was like 3.
No, there are. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's only 21 of them.
Oh, well, still, it's more than 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. But okay, but the fact that, like, biodomes created to try to save the world in River Heights with the abominable snowman, Sasquatch, And then they have Connie Okala in it, but they call him Okale Kana and not
They flip
Connie
it,
Okala.
right? Yeah.
Yes. So that's interesting. But oh my God, I'm so excited because this just seems wild. I just found Bess and George.
Oh, yay.
Or there they are. That's
yes, I see
Nancy
them.
and George, and that's Bess and Nancy.
Oh, cute. Okay. Yeah, sorry, the camera had to focus there for a second. They're cute.
Yeah.
Aww.
The art is very interesting and very exciting. I'm so interested. Oh my gosh.
I'm excited to read this one.
Me too. But so we will be covering that next time, regular Drews. So stay tuned and we'll see you then.
Yep, we'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to Regular Nancy Drew. If you like this episode, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Email us at regularnancydrew@gmail.com.
You can also visit our website, regularnancydrew.com, and also follow us on Instagram at regularnancydrew.
You can also support us on Patreon. Patrons at the $3 level vote on upcoming episode topics and get exclusive access to our Scoop Sesh series.
And all patrons receive early access to each episode as well as weekly bonus content.
And to all you regular Drews out there, thanks for listening.